Welcome back to Fast Market here on the Schwab Network. It's time for our cash tag segment. For that, let's bring in Megan Brantley. She's the Vice President of Research at LikeFolio. Welcome back to the show, Megan.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, so we're talking Coinbase crypto. It's been a volatile trade. Just hit all-time highs about a month and a half ago. I mean, this has been a pretty spectacular trade. Coinbase, I mentioned earlier that it was up over 1,500. It's up over 330% from year-ago levels. But it's had a great run. But maybe it should, Megan, just due to the fact of the interest in crypto and Bitcoin in particular.
Yeah, whenever we look at this name, we can look at a couple of different metrics to understand user adoption and potential growth for Coinbase. So one of these is we can look at just the overall buzz surrounding this name, and we can see that up significantly on a year-over-year basis. So just consumers who are talking about Coinbase, I think those are up by over 40% year-over-year. And then whenever we look at web visits also, so consumers who are going to learn more, this could be potentially a sign for new users and also just user engagement. Those mentions are up by about 54% year over year. So just from a Coinbase specific metric perspective, we see some positive momentum here. I don't think that this is necessarily any surprise. We can also look really closely at consumer interest in Bitcoin or consumer interest in Ethereum and some other cryptocurrencies, and we see those continuing to rise this year. This is a name that also, I think that it's pulled back maybe about 15% from March highs, and this trades closely in tandem with Bitcoin, and it makes sense. This is a large driver of its transaction revenue. And so this is a name, though, for us that when consumers are talking about this, they view this as the safe way if they are going to trade a cryptocurrency in a lot of manners. And so for us on this name, we see the strong consumer sentiment as a long-term growth indicator. And then near term, it is nice to see the mention volume and web visits both rising in tandem, especially ahead of this earnings event.
Megan, this is kind of an interesting study on this name because they still, like you guys said, they still trade in line with the future, right, for cryptocurrency. And when that goes up and it goes down, even though their revenue comes more and more from just the fees and not the holding and not the value. So I think they're trying to break away from that. They haven't so far. But the good news is, and this is kind of one of those things, the more the cryptocurrency gets penetration, the higher the level of public interest, the higher the transaction volumes, the better for Coinbase, right? They're kind of the NVIDIA of crypto. They sell the picks, shovels. They don't make money off the actual, they make money more and more off the fees and the services and all the things they do. That's probably a good place to be in terms of exposure to currency, correct?
Yeah, you're exactly right. You kind of laid out our entire bullish thesis for Coinbase. This is a name that we do like long-term, and we actually do like heading into this earnings event. We think that this could be a name that could surprise to the upside. And so this is one that if we were to see a pullback, because as you mentioned, it can be volatile, this would be one that we would pick up on dips. We actually have a pretty high score heading into earnings, just driven by the strong metrics that we're watching, but at large, just renewed interest in cryptocurrency too. We see whenever we look at mentions of consumers who are talking about learning about cryptocurrencies, trading cryptocurrencies, or just overall cryptocurrencies as a macro trend, we see this continuing to rise. And so this is a name that is in a very good spot to benefit from that macro trend. And so this is one that we're definitely got an eye on long-term because so far it does seem to be best of breed. I really like that comparison. It is like the NVIDIA of cryptocurrency if you're looking for that picks and shovels play.
Megan, when you look at competition, because Bitcoin's hit all-time highs about a month ago, you're seeing more competition come into the space. Are you guys seeing any data that reflects that, hey, Coinbase charges too much? There's other platforms that I can use out there to trade this without having to go through Coinbase anymore. Are you seeing anything there, and do you have an earnings score on this one going into the results?
We aren't seeing any significant shifts in terms of people who are talking about using other platforms, maybe these up-and-comers, but competition can certainly enter the market. We'll be watching that pretty closely. We have seen somewhat of an impact in terms of overall consumer happiness levels related to the cryptocurrencies that are available on Coinbase's platform. So that's something that we'll be monitoring moving forward. But at least for this earnings event, our metrics look pretty positive. And so our score heading into earnings is a 60. So I think that's pretty high in our universe whenever we talk about different earnings scores. Anything above a 20 for us is pretty bullish.
Oh yeah, bullish data there and bullish number.
Don't hear a lot of 60s out of LikeFolio.
Yeah. All right, great stuff. As always, Megan, appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that's Megan Brantley, Vice President of Research at LikeFolio, breaking down the data for us. Kev, I wanted to bring up a chart before we get you